Welcome to the discussion. I thought that we could do quick introductions first.
So welcome, I'm Mike Zamarski, and I'm acting as a digital transformation consultant for future processing for the past 4 years. Previously, I've been an owner of 15 businesses in 3 countries on 2 continents, and with that experience mixed with my accountancy background, what I can do for future processing is to help FP and their clients to clash great ideas with business reality to create value that can be turned into reality. And in my free time, I'm a rancher. I own a small ranch in Poland where I do breed cattle, sheep, and laying hens.
My name is Vinay Patel. I'm a co-founder and COO of OIC Advisors. And we started the company really to everything that Mike said, except for the ranching part. The businesses are really challenged right now to succeed in the age of digital transformation. And one of the things that we feel we really bring to the table is the speed and velocity of change. So that's a key tenet of all of our operations. Everything we do is really structured to get our clients as rapid progress as possible to help them achieve their operational velocity. Prior to the OIC Advisors company, we met in Cisco. So Bernard and I, as well as our third co-founder, Christine Briggs, we were all at Cisco. I spent about 8 years at Cisco across many different roles in professional services, product management, on product service lines, and really got a chance to work firsthand with our clients and really got to do amazing things there. Prior to that, I spent many years in enterprise IT roles, service provider roles. So really have been very lucky to work with really good clients across, and hopefully I can bring that knowledge to our clients in the OIC capacity.
Bernard Williams, I'm the CTO with OIC Advisors, and as Vinay explained, we are focused on helping organizations improve their ability to deliver value quicker to their end customers. And that's, for me, that's been a passion for the past 25, 30 years. No matter what organization I've been in, I've been focused on helping to optimize processes and help the organizations digitally transform. We take a hands-on approach, and we have led small projects all the way up to enterprise scale projects, impacting millions of users. So I've learned what works and what doesn't work when it comes to organizational transformation, and I've got all the battle scars to prove it. And if there's a way that a project can fail, I assure you that I have found it and have experienced it. And so we love to bring that knowledge to the table so that other people can benefit.
So I'm Konrad Bałys. I've been working at Future Processing for actually 15 years. So it's a long journey which started from the software development, tech lead, and recently leaning more to the consultancy and solutions architects. So I went with this company a long journey when it was much smaller and infant to the current size, and at this time I solved a lot of business problems using the technology. Deep inside my heart, I'm still a software developer, but on the outside, I'm more, solution architect and consultant.
My name is Paula Lipnick, and I've been in technology for over 10 years. My current role as an agile coach makes me very interested in all things that optimize practices. And so I'm very excited to be here today to have a discussion with Future Processing about all the innovative things that they're doing. I'm going to go into the first discussion question. Why should companies choose you over large firms? How do you ensure the right mix of business advisory and technology?
I think that the primary reason that companies should choose, and just speaking for OIC Advisors, but also a company like Future Processing, we have been there and we have done that, and we have seen what works and what doesn't work. And it's one thing when I'm not saying that I'm long in the tooth, but we've been around a little bit, and so not to ever eschew someone that has not had a lot of experience in the field, but when you have that that experience, you see, hey, in these situations, here is what can work, and here's a way to quickly get to the result that the customer is looking for. And here's the things that the customer really cares about, such as business outcomes. It's very easy as a technologist to focus on how amazing this solution is, but the solution isn't a solution unless there's a problem to be overcome. So we choose to fall in love with resolving the problem versus coming up with the solution. And so as OIC advisors, we come in and we focus on resolving the problem. And the problem that we love to fix is shrinking the time from that amazing idea to value delivery. Shrinking that, and we call that operational velocity, improving an organization's ability to meet their value proposition for their target customer and their ideal customer profile in the shortest amount of time. And so that's why I would say an organization should choose OIC Advisors.
And this is exactly why we felt in love with OIC instantly, because when Future Processing was trying to explore the options how to move to the Western markets mostly, we were looking for a partner who would understand this corporate business world very intimately. At the same time, as we wanted to get to know this world better and evolve from our history, which was just a software house, we knew that we need to find someone who is very open to how the ground, the battle trenches really look like. And this is where we do come on board, as we also do think that bringing value to the customer is the ultimate goal for any software company to aspire to. At the same time, this is quite difficult for a company which is built on engineers only. So this is why the partnership between two organizations, one which stems from the engineering background, the second one that stems from the corporate world, that do have this common ground inside, is so valuable and can bring so much unique value to our clients, understanding both sides of the aisle with no value being lost in translation. And this is critical when you do go to these large companies. They only think about the business perspective, and so much information and value gets lost in the translation, as you need to explain things and translate it to this alien engineering language. And as we know this language intimately, and we have such a good relationship with OIC, this is why this additional value layer for our clients is being generated.
I totally agree, and I saw this journey at Future Processing because I'm so long here, that our roots are the very engineering software specialists who are able to do amazing stuff, but yet to define what is this amazing, what business problems you would like to solve. And currently any cooperation with the client focuses not only on the solving the problem, but also doing it with a fun. I mean that the engineers are still have a lot of fun when solving the problems. And if you understand the client problems and you can, support that, you're writing some code or you're integrating something, that you're doing something technical, and in the end you see this big rocket launching, or you see this successful acquisition or any other project that's really rewarding. And I can speak not only for myself, but also for my other architects colleagues. We have quite big community group of architects that this personalized approach to the client, the business, technical people who are close to the business are really our strength.
Yeah, I would add, I think those are all wonderful points. The one thing we've seen is that these days clients can see through very shallow presentations, fluffy types of PowerPoints very, very quickly. And so when you look at what separates us and both OIC and Future Processing, whether it be on the business advisory and the consultancy side or on the technical delivery side, we get results quickly because we truly, as Mike and Konrad mentioned, we really tried to get to an outcome. And rather than just interviewing, the traditional days of interviewing, 20 people in an engagement, putting all that documentation together and polishing it up and putting it into fancy graphics and, having a big readout, and you call that a consultancy. I mean, those days are gone. And I think, there are a lot of consulting companies out there are already obsolete. They just don't know it yet. Getting into a state where you can proceed side by side and you're one team delivering those results, getting to a stage where your end clients are truly seeing value and true business value. That combination of business value with the technology has to be, the goal every day. So yeah, that's what we pride ourselves in. And same thing on our side too, Mike. Like we partnered with OIC and FP because we've seen you have those same types of agile deliverables. You have that value-driven mindset, and I think it's a very wonderful partnership.
I've got another question. Given the increasing complexity of technology services, why do large consulting firms struggle to adapt while technology-driven firms like yours thrive?
Okay, so maybe like one of the first factors, there's going to be multiple of those factors, but the first factor is that every company that deals with technology needs to adapt. It has to be embedded in their core. Because if you are not catching up with the world, then you're done. And trust me, technology goes much, much faster than any market and any business on it. So obviously businesses need to adapt, and the need for adaptability and flexibility in the business is extremely important. But still the rate on which the changes are coming through is nowhere as fast as in technology. So that would be a very good starting point to be able to catch up with the knowledge at the fastest rate possible, which technology companies have in their core.
Yeah, I would say sometimes technology, especially new and emerging technology, it might even be a hindrance to organizations because it takes a lot to really adapt and to embrace technology to make those business outcomes faster. One of the reasons you mentioned why we're successful is that we weave that technology into the fabric of the organization. So sometimes just saying, okay, so we're partners with many technology companies, HubSpot, Teamwork, Scaled Agile, and there are a lot of places where that's the right technology that the company needs to improve, for example, their services delivery. They can get value from their services faster, or their product time to market can shrink if they incorporate some of these agile technologies. But that process of embracing and really adapting yourself to leverage that technology for what it can do, that takes time. And there's also a lot of organizational inertia. There are a lot of people that are just really, happy to do things in a particular way, in a particular tool, in a particular process. So having that goal in mind, this is how we want that outcome to be. These are the tools we want people to use, but this is how we want them to use them. And this is how that technology needs to become a part of that organization. Those are places where we really spend a lot of time. You have to tell the organization what success looks like. You have to help them envision it. And then you have to really continuously tell them many, many times. We have to, drop some of the old tools so we can adopt a new tool. So I think technology by itself is great, but it cannot be the only focus for any type of transformation project. It has to become the core of that process around which you really evolve.
Organizations differ in their ability to adopt new technology. So by organization type. So is there a particular type of organization that is better at adopting new technology or transforming than another type of organization? And I would submit to you that it has nothing to do with organization type, but it has to do with management competency. And it has to do with the organization's ability to execute, which is different from, you could be a brake manufacturer, and because you have an incredible ability to execute, you can adopt new technology versus Microsoft, where I have worked in the past, and sometimes the cobbler's kids have no shoes. And so it is very easy inside of large technology companies to assume that you are amazing at adopting and rolling out new technology solutions and doing digital transformation. And that's simply, not the case.
Yeah, and it's, I think, very important to highlight that not all of the new technologies are worth, in incorporation, because it happens, and I've seen it many times, that the salesmen of big companies who invent something new technologies, they would like to sell it, and they promise that it will solve all your problems. But in the reality, for real clients, when you would like to adapt those which are on the marketing papers, very bright and elegant solutions which work, they in reality aren't that good. Yeah. So it's very important to have like a real background from the real-time scenarios, real-time implementations, and you can choose and sense, is this going to help your client when you adapt this one or not? Is it suitable for your size and your budget, your time scale, the problems you have? So I believe that technology should solve the problems, and I would rather say that the problems should be solved using the technology, but it's not the technology itself as a destination. And I believe that sometimes big consulting companies are selling, big products, technology products, because of the marketing, not because they are worth in being implemented at certain clients. Yeah. So.
Yes, and to Bernard's point, and our previous question, actually, this shows why partnership like ours brings so much value, because as we can see, it's like the fabric. The different threads do weave through. So from one end, we have this. I believe that there are differences in how companies can adapt based on the market they work in. For example, banking is quite slow. I do stem from the accounting background, and really the possibility for the law, for example, to change, it just takes so much time. So the cycle of adoption is really very, very long, while technological companies, they need to, even Microsoft, they need to scale to their clients' needs sometimes in the matter of minutes. For example, if the load is increased significantly, then obviously Microsoft needs to provide the services that can adapt to clients' needs. But at the same time, you have this, the first one was horizontal weave. The vertical weave is the management and the company is being built in. So because there are so many threads and factors that need to interweave with each other, some of them stem from the technology and some of them stem from the business. This is why it's so important to have multiple perspectives and multiple focuses, and this is where the partnership brings to the table its unique viewing point, where we are able to adapt as a joint venture much faster than any company that is being built in only one dimension, as we have more dimensions to our partnership than that.
I love hearing that. What I'm hearing is that you develop a partnership and you're doing this from your years of experience in the field, and that helps you know your customers better than they could possibly know themselves.
To some extent, yes, but at the same time, it's so important not to behave or act like we know the business better than our clients. What we do excel at is providing excellent frameworks and excellent methods of communication and excellent ways how to streamline the domain knowledge the clients already possess or they don't know they possess, only it's missing a few spots. And we can fill in the blanks and then turn this gigantic area of knowledge into something that can be transferred into the results. So it's like putting a spotlight on what matters.
Yeah, and information structurization, yeah, to get from all this chaos and all of this mess, like the real decision what to do. Yeah, what is the strategy? What is the roadmap?
Yeah, the company doesn't make money by implementing new technology. They use that technology to deliver their end products or services. So I think that's where, we really provide the secret sauce. They know their business of their products and their services better than anyone else. We know how to integrate, those new tools, how to help them operate faster, how to get to that end state better than anyone else. So I think that combination, and then within us, we focus OIC focuses a lot more on the operational side, on the organizational design, and on the delivery and the value acceleration. And FP is the best in terms of the technical implementation and the technical architecture and the strategy. So I think that marriage really combined with the know-how of the companies that we work for, I think that that is really the secret towards getting outcomes delivered as quickly as possible.
And it leads me a little bit into our next discussion question. What are you doing daily to help ensure collaboration between business and technology teams?
I think there are many things that we do daily. Just as one example, we're working with a very large company that has a transformation project underway to really change a multi-billion-dollar product line. And for them, there are so many different stakeholders. It's a very matrixed organization. So from a daily perspective, the first thing we did was to establish a transformation office. And this is very much more than like a traditional PMO structure. So it's more than reporting. It's more than tracking and creating, status updates, blockers, things like that. A transformation office is really about communications, about aligning multiple stakeholders, about gaining consensus, and using those communication channels to then help overcome obstacles, overcome inertia, and to help communicate, project status and overcome those different challenges. So I think establishing a cadence with your business partners and your technology partners within the company as well as outside the company, a transformation office really brings those different elements together. So we try to do that even for small projects. It may not be a huge office, but at least having those functions that really are centered around communications of that entire project to all stakeholders within the company or the organization. That communications is the key. I think you have to continuously beat the drum. You have to repeat the message. You have to celebrate successes, and then you have to gain that sense of urgency across the organization at all stages.
I like finding the bright spots, and like Vinay just talked through, celebrating the successes. I think that's important because people like to be recognized and rewarded, and hey, you did a great job, you did. And so whenever I see great examples of effective collaboration, I'm talking it up. Hey, thank you very much for sharing that information. Here's the outcomes of being able to effectively have cross-team collaboration. And oftentimes what we've seen in organizations that we have been supporting and helping is that cross-team collaboration is a huge detractor from their ability to deliver value. Those people in that other team, they're not as good as us, and you have this siloed mentality, and information isn't flowing from left to right through the organization in order to deliver that value. So whenever we see great effective cross-team collaboration, I try to shine a light on it and say that's the behavior we're looking for. That's great stuff.
And what Vinay and Bernard said, it's a very known always problem that happened since the beginning of humanity. What has changed is the way we can facilitate this communication. So we are at the level of civilization where this communication is even harder than previously due to the amount of communication channels and so on. So I completely agree with their point. On top of that, it's really important to cascade down this communication to the day-to-day teams that do work on software delivery. As when you have a look in the past, like 20 years ago, 15 years ago, imagine you had a big client. The only thing the engineers were interested in was looking at their task list and performing the task. And the humongous difference between the network boom or pre-AI even was that you could do that. You were creating art for art, basically. Right now, it's important to take the idea, the value, the vision, the concept that is being meticulously perfected on every of these government meetings, and then translate that into the day-to-day of the engineer. As we need these engineers to ask questions, and what differentiates future processing from most of the companies that we can experience on the day-to-day basis when we have the behind the curtains talk in the industry is that we do put a very strong effort on being able to cascade this message in a very shortened way, of course, to our engineers, so they do understand what they are doing and why they are doing what they are doing. And actually, this is actually Konrad who told me a very good framework for that. We should ask ourselves two questions every day. So, are we doing the right thing? And then after that, are we doing the right thing right? And I think this is what it boils down to in the trenches. You need to know why you are doing these tasks. You need to empower your engineers to be able to ask questions, to press the red button if they see, okay, this doesn't make sense in the context of the business value the client wants to achieve. Maybe we could do something cheaper. Maybe we could use some of the out-of-the-box solutions. Maybe we could fiddle with the quality, because the business goal doesn't require the artsy quality. They need to achieve their business purposes, and they don't need a golden tool to do that. They just need a stick for some of the parts. And empowering our engineers to be able to ask these questions, because they do understand the context, and this context is being regularly curated with our clients, allows us to be much more efficient and to deliver value faster. Same as Bernard said, this is the key, how to deliver the proper amount of value and how to deliver it fast.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. You said what I would like to say with similar sentences, and I can bring up a short metaphor for this one, that three people are building something, and you ask the first person, what are you doing? I'm carrying the bricks. And you're asking the second person, what are you doing? I'm building the wall. And you are asking the third person, what are you doing? I'm building the cathedral. And what Mike said, this cascade of the information from the business, what are you doing and what for you're doing this stuff, is really important to cascade this information to the development teams, because if they don't understand what is the goal, what we would like to achieve, it is very hard to, in today's world, to have a successful outcome. So our day-to-day activities are to bringing the key person from the project closer to the business, as close as possible, to get this information and propagate it, cascade it to the development team, so everybody can make an improvement and everybody can highlight some ideas to do something better, quicker, faster, or in other way, which would be more beneficial.
Yes, and it also enables us to fail faster in the project lifecycle, because failing fast is critical. It's very cheap to fail fast, to test hypotheses, to test ideas, and make mistakes where they don't cost much time and money. And all of us here combined, we made so many mistakes, as I mentioned previously. So this is why it's so important, and we know that, and we want to teach our clients how to fail in safe environments so they can make the most innovating, the best fitting the market, the most valuable product for their customers, because the worst thing they can do is to fail when they already launched the market.
I love that. So what I'm hearing is that by increasing the collaboration, you're increasing the speed as well, bringing everyone together.
Correct. And also, it's about doing the filters on messaging. So every level of organization or the project needs to get the proper amount of information in the proper time. And then and only then they are able to function as one single organism to bring what our clients require, the best value for their money.
I have another discussion question. A lot's changed in the past few years. How are these changes going to impact the future? Do you have any predictions?
Well, this is a rough one and also a tricky one, because we could come up with some very wild predictions, and I can guess that some of these would be very accurate. And maybe instead of asking a question, what changes are awaiting us, maybe the critical question here is, how can we prepare for all of these changes that we are not able to predict? With the AI being on the horizon, with really varying opinions how it's going to change the industry, my own opinion is that it's going to change the ecosystem as much as the automotive industry did. That's going to reshape how the world is being consumed in its entity. So I think that things that we partly did mention about, so being extremely agile, being able to adapt, being able to collaborate, being able to shift focus very fast, are the four best predictors for the skill sets that we need to curate and nurture within the organization. As these maybe soft skills are going to be much more important in the future with the way that technology develops and the ability to leverage technology that's going to surpass any best minds in the planet very soon. That's going to be critical.
Yeah, I think just as you talked about it, the few things that popped into my mind, Paula, the last 3-4 years, what are the big changes that we've already seen? So AI is definitely at the top of the list. This concept of work from anywhere, hybrid work, just the companies that 5 years ago would never have even fathomed that someone could work outside of the office are now, allowing that. And, there's all these things from a technology perspective that have come up, zero trust and, all these different networking security things that have evolved to allow that. And then automation. So again, just working across network boundaries, the outage of CrowdStrike that happened, a couple of months back. I mean, that just the thing that's underlying all of these three, they're sort of tangential, but to me, the one thing underlying all of those is trust. So how can you trust that your vendor that is providing hyper automation that can instantly, submit code to every corner of the planet? How can you trust that that's going to be valid and not, break the world? How can you trust that your employees are going to have safe, secure access everywhere they go, wherever they're working, and have that continuity, to make sure that they're productive? And then in AI, I think, one thing that I read that really stuck with me last week, Satya Nadella from Microsoft published his annual letter. And one of the things in there was, how do we earn trust? He said, trust is earned, not given. So how can you ensure that the AI tools that you're using are built upon a foundation of trust? The governance, the provenance, the data security, protecting your data when it's used in all these different models. There are a lot of things out there, but I think the companies that will succeed and will thrive, no matter what field they're in, are going to be the ones that can earn the trust and prove that they are trustworthy.
I would say that the best way to predict future is to invent it. So
Nice.
yeah, so I'm not sure if I'm good at predictions, so I would like to be involved in some world-changing, I think, projects which could influence how the future would look like. And to me, the recent changes, and as Vinay has said already, this geopolitical and economical situation of the world, AI and working from many locations, it changed a lot, and it was just like 5 years. So imagine what could happen in 20 years. But I think that the AI is something we should focus to. I'm not seeing maybe the Terminator scenario from the movie Terminator, maybe not this way, but I would say that high unemployment would be a really problematic in the nearest future due to the AI. So if we can think about how to solve such issues, maybe we can solve it with another technology, I don't know, but that would be, I think, that the most important issue to solve in the upcoming 5-10 years, I guess. And for now, as a technology company, it's a great opportunity to enroll such tools in everything we do. If it of course makes sense, as we said previously, if it can help our clients to boost the business and make growth, that's I think the obvious path in the nearest radar.
I think this is really important what you said, Konrad. So about big shifts in employment. That's at the same time a big threat, but at the same time it's a huge opportunity. And I will reference to my previous comment about the AI being the revolution of the size of the automotive being introduced. And after that happened, for example, horseshoeing was not relevant anymore. And what did happen to all of these people who did that or who took care of horses? They just changed their profiles. A new, the whole new range of services.
Emerged, yeah.
Well, some did, right? Some changed their profiles.
Yeah.
Others were just like I can't do that. I'm gonna, retire, or they went broke.
I agree that there are always there is always collateral damage to revolutions, and this is a revolution, and there's going to be some. But with the rest, you'll just have to embrace the changes and just imagine how much possibility is going to happen in the next few years, and that's amazing.
Yeah, but one slight difference between the change which happened 100 years ago and now is that any revolution which happened was more of the jobs related to some kind of force, mechanical stuff. Yeah, so you change the way you travel, you change how you build something, more automation. But it was related to physical human strength and replacement of that one. With the AI, the difference is that it changes at the mental level. Yeah, so it's like a cognitive revolution of the automation, more or less. So I think that the outcome with this revolution may be different than with the previous ones.
I love that thought. We do need to change the way that we think. One thing I think is interesting about when automobiles came to be and everyone was able to get one, it was at a time when there weren't a lot of roads.
Yes. Yes.
Exactly. Finding opportunity, that I think Bernard mentioned it, like the people that can take a look at some change and say, hey, this is an opportunity, and I'm going to go attack it. I'm going to find a path through, and I'm going to succeed, rather than this is an obstacle. People are, putting things in here because, they're blocking what I used to do for, X number of years. I think that mentality is critical, but the physical versus mental aspect that Konrad mentioned is definitely real. And I think the thing that really takes away any excuses that people would have is just instant access to all information. Like no matter what field you're in, at least from our perspective, we can take a look at what's coming, and we know that, okay, this thing is happening. And if I'm in an industry, if I'm in a company, if I'm in a team that doesn't have that mindset of change, that doesn't have that mindset of transformation, either you step up or you change teams or you find a way to overcome that, because there is no excuse, because I think everyone has that access just like everyone else does. And the people that are having that mindset that, okay, this is an opportunity to get better, those will be the ones that thrive.
Brilliant.
I would like to challenge a little bit the mindset argument that this is the first time we have the change in the mindset. As I mentioned, I do own a ranch, and in terms of, for example, farming, just imagine that what a huge change mentally it was for farmers to introduce tractors first. It wasn't just physical. It was a huge mental leap they needed to take. And I think it's tempting to say that's the first time it happened in human history. But I wouldn't be so sure. I think that every revolution comes with breaking a mental barrier and mental status quo. And I don't think this is much different than what happened previously. It's just from our perspective, it's different because we know everything that happened previously. But I can guarantee you that to our predecessors, every new revolution was mind-breaking.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
Your last question was great, and it made me go look up a quick stat here on the adoption of technology. And so the one that I dug up real quick was, what is the adoption rate of generative AI? And it took, 2 years in, we are at a 40% adoption rate. So across, meaning that 40% of businesses 2 years after generative AI was released, we're using it. So imagine where we are today, because we know that number's gone up significantly 3-4 years in, but it doubled the speed with which the internet was adopted, and it took the PC almost 14-15 years to get to that level of adoption after it was introduced. And I think that's incredible when you could compare the PC to how fast generative AI is getting sucked up. And when this comes out and gets updated for next year, I would not be surprised if we're in the 75, or percent or higher space. And so when such life-altering technology gets placed into the wild, I can understand why some people are crying wolf, saying, you've opened Pandora's box. And think about the regulations that have to catch up. It's going to take years. You've got various bad actors out there in the world that are using the power for bad things, and you've got amazing people using the power for amazing things. And so it is almost like a Cambrian explosion that is happening, that we get to observe and watch. And so I think of when I'm 70, 80, 90 years old and look back and say, I remember when they introduced generative AI. Remember that, and what happened, and how it changed the world. And so imagine what things will have occurred as a result of having this tool available. And just like the telegraph or the telephone and the things that were available because you could pick up a phone and call your family member that was on the other side of the country.
Vinay, Mike, Konrad, Bernard, it's been an honor talking to you today about all of the innovative things that OIC and future processing are doing. And I'm looking forward to speaking with you in the future.
Likewise. Thank you for moderating.
Thank
Paula.
you.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.